Spoke to like some people who are like, is AX good? I'm planning to go alone. I'm like, do not go to AX alone. That is like
define good.
I'm like, you could probably go to a local con alone and probably make some mates. But like in AX, like everyone already has their group with them.
Yeah.
So it's like,
you don't have enough time to hang out with the group that you have already.
Right.
Let alone hanging out with like randomers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. I just had like so many flashbacks of hanging out with random people that went terribly wrong. Because, okay, you've all been there, right? Everyone goes to a convention, right?
Yeah.
You know, you've got to decide, I really want to go to this convention, but fuck, hotel rooms are expensive.
Right.
So it's like, how many people can I fit in this hotel room to reduce it to a point where I'm comfortable, right? Like, and I think we said this on one podcast where like, if you're in charge of the booking, you get dibs on the bed, right? So that's why I always used to be in charge of the booking. So I'm like, I'm getting the bed. Yeah. I'm getting the best bed. And I'm getting the key.
All you guys are getting the 4.
Because, oh my God, if the hotel doesn't ask you how many keys you want, it's like, there's 2 keys between 6 of you. And it's like, how do we...
how do we distribute
How do we decide who gets a key?
Yeah.
You know, like...
Because the person with the key has the power. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, because you can come and go as you want. Because there's nothing worse than just sitting there with all your bags, being like, calling up your mate, and not fucking picking up. And you're like, I want to go back to the hotel room. Answer me, you cunt.
Like, mobile service in a convention is fucking
my God.
awful.
It's non-existent.
It's non-existent.
Yeah.
You just basically gotta pretend you're back in like the fucking 18th century. You're like, how do I contact Joey? Especially when you're in America. We don't have American phones either. And like, I have a contract on my British phone that gives me American service, which is usable in most places. I just buy another SIM. In most places, but in like a convention, you are getting like zero fucking service.
Yeah, it's like a fucking Greek marathon, right? You have to like ask someone to like, can you run to the other side of the convention and tell Joey that I'm here? It's like, all right, I'll see you soon.
Have you ever stayed in a room with people who you're like, fuck, I regret staying in a room with them?
Yes. But I'm not gonna name names.
You can't name your name? All right, fine.
I can't name my names. But I mean, you stayed with some Discord people, right?
Yeah, I stayed with a bunch of people on Discord, and I was
and that always goes well.
Fucking nightmare.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Fucking, because I was like the pseudo leader of the group,
right?
And there was just so many fucking problems. And this is also when I just started YouTube, and I hadn't formally met. I'd met Sydney.
Yeah,
I didn't get to see you, but we were gonna hang out. We already planned to, and I hadn't met you yet. Had I?
I don't think so.
So. This was kind of like, I don't know, I was like going to make mates, you know, with you. I was planning to hang out with you guys for the majority of it.
Oh, was this the first AX
This is the first AX I went to.
You spent most of your time with us. Yeah. I remember that.
So I had told the people I was staying with, like, hey, this is like straight up just like a room thing. Like, I'm going to be hanging out with other people like for like 99% of this. Told them that many times. I think like one of them like didn't quite get the memo, and he was like really hoping that I would introduce him to like everyone and be like, yo, here's my best mate. He's hey. And the problem is he was a fucking creep. So like I didn't really want to hang out with him. And it wasn't like, at first he was a little strange, you know, he was an American and he was like a military dude. And in my experience, military dudes are like 50-50 on whether they're like totally chill or just fucking psychotic.
I actually totally agree. I've met so many military dudes and there is no in between.
There's no in between.
Either they're a fucking psycho or they're the most chillest dudes you can ever imagine.
Everywhere I've met, it's always like that. It's like they're like no chill.
Yeah.
So he's like kind of nice, you know, he's whatever, he's just a little weird. And then like one time I remember I met you at a party, and then like he was texting me the whole time, and I think I mentioned where I was. And as we're leaving this party, do you remember this? Like,
I remember this.
We go outside and he's waiting there at like 1 a.m. He's like, hey Connor, how you doing, man? Can I join? And we're like getting an Uber, and I'm like, no man, we're getting an Uber somewhere else. I'm really sorry, man. Because like it's like, how do you introduce? It's like kind of creepy because everyone's already seen that he's waiting outside, and it's really creepy. And it's
it's the over enthusiasm, right?
It's because the thing about anime conventions that's so difficult for a lot of people to like wrap their heads around is just like what is socially acceptable. Because you know what I mean?
Like
social rules are thrown out the window at a convention.
When you don't know someone, I think it's like a social rule where you shouldn't be bringing your friends in, unless you have like a reason to. But if you don't like, okay, because if you bring someone in to a friend group and that guy's an asshole or a creep, that's on you. That's on you. I brought him in.
Yeah.
And I didn't know him. So, and I got kind of signs that he was a creep.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to bring him in because I was like, if I bring him to this party and he starts like fucking chatting up Giga all night. Like, hey man, I love your videos. Can we take a pic? Can I smell your penis? Like, you know what I mean? It's like kind of looks terrible on me. So I was like, nah.
And the party was at my house or
your Airbnb, and there was like
Airbnb
only
as
10
well.
of us, so it was really intimate. So I told him, I was like, listen man, like I'm really sorry dude, but like I don't really know like Gaunt or like anyone in this group pretty well. Like I would invite you, I just don't feel like comfortable doing it. I explained to him and he was so pissed off. And
just pissed off.
He was so pissed off. So then I came back at like 5 a.m. to my shitty hotel in like it's the like suburbs of LA, and like it was
like near Koreatown, wasn't it?
No, it was further away. It was like even like further out. It was really far out, and it was really sketchy. It was like a what was it called? It wasn't even like a Holiday Inn. It was one of the more budget chains.
Like a motel.
It was bad. It was really bad.
Yikes.
And at this hotel, for some reason, at midnight, all the cards reset. So if you came back after midnight, you'd go to the front desk, but the front desk wasn't open.
All right.
So if you came back after midnight, you'd hope someone else is already in the room, or just wait out your door till 6 a.m. till someone comes. Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah. So he was in the room, and he'd been like drinking alone in his room. And I felt really bad. But so I'm like, hey man, let me in, whatever, you know, it's like 5 a.m. Like, dude, I really want to fucking sleep. So he opens the door and comes out, blocking the door so I couldn't get in.
Right.
I'm like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like, let me in. I want to sleep. It's 5 a.m. And he's like absolutely hammered. He's like, listen, Connor, I thought you were cool, man. Why didn't you let me in the party? I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry, but like not now, man. It's 5 a.m. Let me sleep. We can talk about it in the morning. Dude, please let me sleep. And then whatever. So we slept, whatever. Yeah. Finally, let me in. But I thought it was weird that because I was ignoring him. I'm like trying to open the door. And he's blocking me. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Let me in. It's 5 a.m. I paid for this room. Let me sleep. And like near the end, one of the other people's in my room who was like a lot smaller, and like I guess he thought they were cute, and then they called me up and he's like, hey, he just tried to pay me to suck his dick, and I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm like, what is happening in this hotel room?
What? Yikes.
And then I was like, I'm so fucking glad I didn't introduce you to any of my friends. If you're going around asking people to suck your dick for money, are you kidding me? So needless to say, I went to the hotel room and just explained to him like, hey, what the fuck, man? Don't do that, you asshole. This is my friend. Don't make them uncomfortable. And then he didn't do anything, and he stayed somewhere else for like the last night because I was like, dude, don't stay in this room with them. And so I've never stayed with any random people on Discord that I've never met before, ever again.
I've heard so many horror stories from Discord. I don't know what it is about Discord, and I'm gonna call it like the Discord hotel room.
Yeah.
Those never ever go right. Like I've because even like the best you can do is have like a little bit of drama, but there's never zero drama. Nobody ever comes out there with just like, everyone was just chill. We had the most chillest time. Everyone was understanding.
What
everything.
is it that everything that's playing on Discord just ends up horribly? What is it about?
It's because you can't like really know who's weird on Discord. Like the problem is that you don't really know how weird people are until you meet them.
Exactly.
Like, you also
it's doubly true on Discord as well, where you're here for this server, which is like solely where you talk about this one, common interest or whatever, and you rarely talk about your own personality.
I just don't understand the mentality though of like looking at a Discord group and being like, okay, there's 3 other people in here. Never seen their faces.
I didn't care because
never met them before. I'm gonna stay in a room with them overnight. It's like
what? I was broke, Joey. What do you want from me?
like what? Like at least hang out with them
I
outside.
I understand to all the convention goers out there who have done the same thing as me because you're broke as fuck. Like you got to do what you got to do, and plus I knew I could take care of myself. Like I know I'm fine. Like I didn't worry, but when I hear like 18-year-old girls that do it, and I'm like, whoa, with dudes. I'm
like, that's just calling for a disaster.
I mean, like it's a recipe for disaster, right? Because I've only gone to conventions after I have had after I had a full-time job. Even if it wasn't like a great paying job, at least I could just afford my own hotel room and stuff like that, or like just a really cheap motel room. What I mean? But if I had gone before I was like say 21, 22, when I was just a broke uni student, or just God forbid, like before even uni. I can imagine so many horrible situations that could have arisen out of that. Which kind of like there's no real way to protect yourself around that, especially if you're just rooming with random people on Discord, which is such a coin flip, you know.
And I would argue, like, is the anime con really that worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say
Honestly, you know what? All that weird shit that happened aside that
Yeah.
I don't think I told you guys that ever, but
Yeah.
I mean, all of that weird shit aside that I had to deal with,
Yeah.
I'll fucking do it again. Easy.
Yeah, but you fucking do anything for content.
No, I mean, that was fun. I mean, like the convention.
I mean, the
was
convention
fun.
was fun.
That was a nuisance, but
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's nice exercise in knowing that I can tell someone to fuck off. You know, I mean, I don't know what. I mean, it is what it is. I knew that when I did that, there was a chance that it could go horribly wrong, and it did go horribly wrong, and I learned my lesson, and I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
But you said you would if you had the chance.
No, I mean, I understand if you know. When you're like 18, you got like $200 max to your name.
Right.
The fucking ticket is $50. You got to get that hotel room down to $100 somehow. It doesn't matter how many people got to go in that room.
You got to divide the room with the amount of bodies that will fit in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
If you need to sleep on the floor, you sleep on the floor. People who sleep on the bed, they pay a premium.
You make it sound like a fucking human trafficking.
It is a human. Have you ever been to a fucking convention room, Joey? Jesus Christ!
Like
a fucking bomb could go off in there, and it would be less messy than it is with just like the amount of like if you got a cosplayer in there.
Oh, no.
Say goodbye to floor space. Say
that.
goodbye to fucking floor
for
space.
some reason, they are allergic to closing their fucking suitcase.
Yeah.
It has to be wide open the whole fucking time. Can't close it. Okay, fine. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's whatever. You should try it sometime. Hang out.
No, thank you. I can afford my own hotel room. I'm good, dude.
For the frills, dude, fucking roll that dice, dude. Just go with it, dude. Like, who knows what stories you'll
Gotta get your thrill somehow, right?
This okay. I don't know. I know this sounds like super. I guess it sounds weird or dangerous to some people. I love just meeting new people in that kind of way.
I mean, look, I don't mind meeting new people either, but
I don't mind meeting a new person for the first time in my hotel room.
I don't want to pull a gotcha roll where I might end up, sleeping with a fucking murderer.
I don't mind that. I'll take that on. You might get the fucking coolest friend for life by doing that. You know
There's
what I mean?
other ways to meet cool friends for life, man. Like,
But you get that fucking story of we met in an anime convention.
that's what I'm
right?
saying. You'll do anything for content.
Dude, I love
Spoken like a true YouTuber.
I don't even think of it as content. I just love like the idea of like making a friend through such a weird and unconventional way. Like I feel like it makes such a good friendship. I don't know.
I mean, but that's another coin flip, though.
I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle of both of you here, because like I do like meeting new people and everything like that, and I used to be that guy who was just like up for anything and be like,
same.
I'll go meet you down in like a dark alleyway, whatever. But like I've had like enough bad experiences to be like, you know what, maybe I'll do like just a little bit of a background check before
let me
I
do some research.
before I jump right into it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I've met so many people on Discord who've turned out to be really sketchy.
Yeah.
And you just gotta. There's a lot of dudes on Discord who like underage girls, and you just gotta call that shit out when you see any signs of it, man.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of, especially in anime conventions, a lot of people, especially obviously like anime fans and weebs and everything, they don't have the confidence to confront people when they see some shit happening. So I feel like with a lot of convention stories that I've heard, it's mostly boiled down to people just didn't know how to handle the situation, right? Because they've never seen it happen in front of them. And so the first time you experience it, you kind of just freeze up to be like, what, is this happening now? Is this happening now? You know what I mean?
Right.
And no matter what you tell yourself you're going to do at that moment, you're totally unprepared for that moment.
True.
So I would say like the best advice I could give is if you see anything bad happening, like don't let that shit lie. Call it out.
Also, especially if they're your friends. Like I know a lot of people who are like, it's hard to like, bollock your friend and be like, dude, what the fuck? But you got to call that shit out.
Yeah.
It's like, if you let it slide, they'll just keep doing it.
A true friend will bollock.
We got to stamp this shit out of our community, because we saw what happened to the Smash community, right? And I don't know what's happened behind the scene of the anime community.
I mean,
I don't even want to imagine.
I don't want to imagine it, because I
Yeah.
wasn't part of the community when some of the worst stories that I've heard happen behind the scenes.
I mean, yeah, with like the Seattle YouTuber that I used to do stuff with, and I've had
Yeah.
people on Discord who I considered friends who later on found out that they like did some fucking horrible stuff. And like, honestly, there were like, there were signs, and I just ignored it because I was like, oh, well, I mean, I think that, they're just quirky. They're not going to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
But like, you gotta call that shit out when you see it.
It's-
Unfortunately,
it's-
so if your friend, even if it's your friend, please call them out. Or bring it
Especially,
up.
especially if it's a friend only through the internet, because we all met through the internet, right? But I mean, we've also met in real life, and we've hung out so many times before I've really knew your guys' real personality and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
So if it's some guy or some girl who you've met through the internet, especially through Discord or something, and you've only talked to them through the internet, meeting friends, making friends on the internet is completely fine. But understand that that's totally different from being a friend IRL. And it's and until you've hung out IRL a few times, you really can't have a true grasp of their personality and what they might be like.
And that's why it's always such a gamble, right? Like when you meet, again, like when you meet that person on Discord and then you be like, all right, let's go to a convention together. Yeah. And you're hanging out with a completely different person.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, oh, you weren't like this when we were chatting on Discord. Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah. And I've had a lot of experiences like that where I would be talking to someone online and then I'd be like, oh, you're going to AX? Oh, I'm going to AX as well. Let's meet up and hang out. And then I talk to them. I'm like, wow.
You aren't what I expected at all.
Yeah, you are not the same person I texted 2 days ago.
Man,
yeah.
fuck.
For better or worse, right? Sometimes they're way cooler in real life. Sometimes they're just like, oof, in real life.
And there's so many social norms that you, like... I don't know what.
Thought of all the dumb shit that's happened.
Common sense just doesn't seem to like make sense. Like common sense just isn't common in anime conventions, right? Yeah. Especially when it comes to like meeting people and stuff. Because you talked about the introducing the one friend to like your friend group or something. Yeah. What happens if you're going to this party? Right, and you can be like, okay, you can bring like this one friend that you might kind of want to introduce, but they're with a group of like 5-6 people, and they're like, can you like get all these people in as well?
Yeah,
and you're like, hard.
What is it about these people who are like, oh, +1? Oh, so +1 group of friends, right? Like, that's what it means? Yeah, all right, cool. I got like 7 people coming.
It's hard because obviously you don't want to be like, you only one person can come in, but you also got to have the balls to just suddenly be like, all right, mates, I've got this sick invitation from a guy. I'm going to go to that. I hope you all understand. Yeah. Like, that's what I would be like. I'd be like, hey, man, I got an opportunity that I don't really come across often. Yeah. Can I take it? Please, don't be mad at me.
Yeah.
I think it's just understanding that it's a convention. People, you're not always going to hang out with the same friend group all the time. Right. So I feel like if you have like some other people you want to meet, then I feel like you just let them go. Don't feel betrayed by your friend hanging out with other people or whatever.